Right, so in this video we're going to have a look at tree graphs again. So if you have a look at the question given here, it is given in both Afrikaans and English. So this video is going to be a mixture of Afrikaans and English. But anyway, so in question 4 it says, given the following equation, y is equals to minus 4 sine x. So the moment you see this, there's a few things that needs to pop up in your brain. The first thing is that you have a sine graph, so you know it has to go something like a wave. The next thing you need to be able to see is, but wait, there is a minus, which means it's going in the opposite direction. And then I also obviously have a 4. Okay, so let's look at the questions. So the first question asks you to write down the amplitude of y equals to minus 4 sine x. Now remember, your amplitude is always the number in front of your sine, or in front of your cos, or in front of your tan. So in this case, my amplitude is going to be 4. Remember, it can never be negative, so it's just normal 4. Then at question 2, I'm asking you, what is the period? So remember, for grade 10, we are only working with the normal graphs. We're not doing any period changes. So for this case, whenever I have a sine or a cos graph, my period is always going to be 360 degrees. Then at question 4.3, they ask, write down the range of skryf neer die waardeversameling of this function. Now, writing down the range is a very common question, yet it's always where people lose their mark. The easiest way to write down the range of a sine or cos graph is the following. Y, element of square bracket, the minimum of that function, and then the maximum of that function, and then you close your square brackets. Now, obviously, that didn't give us a sketch, so you're quickly going to draw your own one, making use of your calculator. Alright, so if I make use of my calculator, this is a very ugly sketch, but there's 90 degrees, 180, 270, and 360. And then I'm going to make use of the table function on my calculator. If you're unsure on how to do it, you can go and have a look at some of my previous videos where I explain how to sketch a graph. Alright, so my function is minus 4 sine x. I'm putting that into my calculator. I'm starting my graph at 0. I'm ending it at 360. And I am going to count in 90s. So my step is going to be 90. Alright, so now I see at 0, I'm going to have a 0. At 90 degrees, I'm going to have minus 4. At 180 degrees, I am back to 0. At 270, I am at 4. And then at 360, I am back at 0. So this is just a rough sketch of how my graph will look. So what will be my minimum point? My minimum point will be here at negative 4. So if I put that into what I'm saying, it's going to be y element of negative 4, and then my maximum value, my highest point is here at 4, so I'm going to say minus 4, positive 4. Right, and then the last question says, oh, it cut off a bit, but it said, write down the equation of the graph if it is reflected over the x-axis. So remember, when something is reflected over the x-axis, it means basically your y sign is changing. Alright, which means that if my graph is going up and then down, it's now going to go down first and then up. That's what it means when something is reflected over the x-axis. So originally, I had y equals to minus 4 sine x. So if it's being reflected in the x-axis, it means this entire thing sign has to change. So it means now it's going to be, I apologize for that. Okay, it's going to go from negative 4, change the sign, it's going to become 4, positive 4 sine x. So when you have a reflection in your x-axis, your y sign changes, which basically means that your entire thing sign has to change.